What if the single biggest barrier between you and wealth is something you can't see, touch, or measure? In 1937, a man named Napoleon Hill published a book that would go on to sell over 100 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling books in history. He spent 20 years interviewing over 500 of the wealthiest, most successful people alive, including Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and John D. Rockefeller. His mission? To decode the exact formula for success and wealth. The result was a book called Think and Grow Rich. And today, we're going to break down every single principle inside it so you can start applying them to your life, starting today. Let's get into it. Section 1. The background. Napoleon Hill didn't write this book from an armchair. Andrew Carnegie, one of the richest men in history, personally challenged Hill to dedicate his life to discovering what made people successful. Carnegie believed that success left clues, that wealth wasn't random, that there was a science to it, a repeatable formula that anyone could learn. Hill accepted the challenge, and after 2 decades of research, he found it. The central thesis of Think and Grow Rich is this: whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Everything begins in the mind. Your thoughts are not just ideas, they are blueprints. And Hill's 13 principles are the tools to turn those blueprints into reality. Section 2. Principle 1. Desire. The starting point of all achievement is desire, not a wish, not a hope, not I'd love to have more money someday. Hill is talking about a burning, obsessive, consuming desire. A desire so strong it crowds out doubt and forces action. He gives us a 6-step method to turn desire into wealth. Step 1. Fix in your mind the exact amount of money you want. Be specific. Not, I want to be rich, but I want $500,000. Step 2. Determine exactly what you will give in return. There is no such thing as something for nothing. Step 3. Establish a definite date by which you intend to have this money. Step 4. Create a definite plan and begin at once, whether you're ready or not. Step 5. Write it all down in a clear, concise statement. Step 6. Read that statement aloud, twice a day. Once when you wake up, once before you sleep. As you read it, see, feel, and believe yourself already in possession of it. This might sound unusual, but Hill's point is profound. The mind cannot distinguish between something vividly imagined and something real. When you repeatedly impress a goal upon your subconscious, it goes to work finding a way to make it happen. Desire is the fuel. Everything else is the engine. Section 3, Principle 2, Faith. Desire without faith is a car without an engine. Faith, according to Hill, is a state of mind that can be induced. It's not something you either have or don't have. You build it deliberately, through a practice he calls autosuggestion, which we'll cover in a moment. Faith is what transforms the ordinary impulse of thought into its spiritual equivalent. It's the bridge between desire and its physical manifestation. He makes a striking statement. Faith is the head chemist of the mind. When faith is mixed with thought, the subconscious mind instantly picks up that vibration, translates it into its spiritual equivalent, and transmits it to infinite intelligence, the source of all genius and invention. And here's the key insight on faith. You become what you believe yourself to be. If you believe you're destined for poverty, your subconscious finds ways to confirm that. If you believe you're destined for success, it finds ways to confirm that instead. Belief isn't passive. It's a force that shapes reality. Section 4, Principle 3, Autosuggestion. Autosuggestion is the medium of communication between the conscious mind and the subconscious. In plain terms, it's self-talk, but weaponized. Every thought you allow to repeatedly enter your mind becomes an instruction to your subconscious. And your subconscious doesn't judge. It doesn't say, "Are you sure?" It simply acts on what you feed it. This is why Hill's daily affirmation practice isn't just motivational fluff. It's cognitive programming. His method: take your written desire statement, read it aloud with emotion and conviction, twice daily. Emotion is critical. The subconscious responds to feelings more than words. You are literally talking to the most powerful computer in existence, your own mind, and giving it its next assignment. Section 5, Principle 4, Specialized Knowledge. Here's a principle that challenges a core belief many of us have. General knowledge, no matter how great, is of little use in the accumulation of money. Think about it. Schools teach general knowledge, but the world's highest earners don't become wealthy because they know a little about everything. They become wealthy because they know a lot about one thing, and they know how to apply it. Hill points out that Henry Ford had very little formal education, but he had specialized knowledge of manufacturing and delegation. And he surrounded himself with people who filled in the gaps he couldn't. The lesson? You don't need to know everything. You need to know your thing, and know where to get what you don't know. Knowledge is only power when it's organized and applied toward a definite purpose. The moment you stop learning, you stop earning. Section 6, Principle 5, Imagination. Hill describes two forms of imagination. Synthetic imagination, rearranging existing concepts, ideas or plans into new combinations. Most inventors and entrepreneurs use this. Creative imagination, the faculty through which hunches and inspirations arrive. Direct connection to infinite intelligence. This is rarer, but more powerful. Hill's observation was startling. The ideas and plans that made the greatest fortunes in history were born, first in someone's imagination. Before the Model T existed, it existed in Ford's mind. Before the light bulb existed, it existed in Edison's mind. Before Apple existed, it existed in Steve Jobs' mind. Your imagination is not a fantasy machine. It's a wealth generation tool. Use it deliberately. Section 7, Principle 6, Organized Planning. Desire plus faith plus knowledge plus imagination plus nothing. Without a plan. Hill is ruthless here. You must have a definite, practical plan, and you must act on it immediately. He advises forming a mastermind alliance, a group of people whose knowledge, skills, and energy you can draw upon. No one builds wealth alone. Every major success in history was a collaborative achievement. And what about failure? Hill makes a distinction that changes everything. There is no failure, only temporary defeat. Every great achiever failed, often repeatedly. Edison failed over 10,000 times before the light bulb worked. Colonel Sanders was rejected by over 1,000 restaurants before KFC launched. Walt Disney went bankrupt before building Disneyland. The difference between failure and success is not the absence of defeat. It's the decision to keep going after defeat. Plan, fail, adjust, repeat. That's the formula. Section 8, Principle 7, Decision. Hill's analysis of over 500 successful men revealed a common trait. Every one of them had the habit of reaching decisions promptly and changing them slowly, if at all. Unsuccessful people, they reach decisions slowly and change them quickly and frequently. Procrastination is the enemy of success. It masquerades as thinking, planning, and being careful, but it's really fear wearing a disguise. One of the most consequential decisions in American history was made by a small group of men who signed a document knowing it could cost them their lives. They called it the Declaration of Independence. They decided, swiftly, firmly, and history was made. You don't need perfect information to make a decision. You need courage and a commitment to your direction. Decide, then pursue that decision with everything you have.
Section 9, Principle 8, Persistence. If there is one chapter in this book that people need tattooed on their forearm, it's this one. Persistence is to success what gasoline is to a car. Without it, you go nowhere. Hill writes, there may be no heroic connotation to the word persistence, but the quality is to the character of man what carbon is to steel. Most people give up at the first sign of defeat. Some give up at the second. A rare few persist through every obstacle until they win. He describes 4 simple steps to develop persistence. 1. A definite purpose backed by a burning desire. 2. A definite plan expressed in continuous action. 3. A mind closed tightly against all negative and discouraging influences. 4. A friendly alliance with one or more people who encourage you. Persistence is a mindset. You train it by refusing to accept defeat as anything more than a temporary setback, and by taking one more step when every instinct tells you to stop. The world steps aside for people who refuse to quit. Section 10, Principle 9, the Mastermind. The concept of the mastermind is simple but transformative. A coordination of knowledge and effort, in a spirit of harmony, between 2 or more people, for the attainment of a definite purpose. Hill describes 2 benefits of the mastermind. Economic advantage. You leverage the knowledge, experience, and effort of others without having to personally acquire all of it. Psychic advantage. When 2 or more minds meet in harmony, a third invisible mind is created, a supermind that generates ideas no individual would conceive alone. Andrew Carnegie credited his entire fortune to this principle. He surrounded himself with over 50 people who understood his vision and contributed to it. Look around you. The people closest to you are either pulling you toward success or toward mediocrity. Choose your inner circle with the same Intentionality, you choose a business partner. Your network is your net worth. And Hill said this 85 years before it became a LinkedIn quote. Section 11, Principle 10, The Mystery of Sex Transmutation. This is the chapter that surprises people most, but it may be the most profound. Sex transmutation simply means this: the most powerful human emotion, sexual desire, can be redirected and channeled into creative, professional, and entrepreneurial energy. Hill observed that the world's most successful men had highly developed romantic natures, not because romance made them successful, but because they learned to harness the energy behind that desire and point it at their work. This is why great artists, writers, musicians, and leaders often speak of their work with the language of passion and love. They are channeling one of nature's most powerful forces into creation. When you feel intense desire, and of any kind, it doesn't have to be dissipated. It can be transformed into the fuel that drives your greatest work. Section 12, Principles 11-13, The Subconscious, the Brain and the Sixth Sense. These final three principles form the metaphysical foundation of the entire book. The subconscious. Mind is the connecting link between the finite mind of man and infinite intelligence. It works 24 hours a day, processing your dominant thoughts and emotions and drawing toward you the people, resources, and circumstances that match them. You cannot fully control your subconscious mind, but you can influence it through the principles already discussed: desire, faith, autosuggestion, and persistence. The brain operates like both a broadcasting and receiving station. Hill was ahead of his time here. Modern neuroscience confirms that the brain operates on frequencies, and that focused, emotionally charged thought genuinely alters neural pathways. Your thoughts quite literally reshape your brain, and your brain reshapes your life. The sixth sense, Hill's most mystical principle, is what he calls the creative imagination at its peak. It's the faculty through which hunches, sudden inspiration, and breakthrough ideas arrive. He describes it as the temple of wisdom, a point where the finite mind touches infinite intelligence. Whether you interpret this spiritually or scientifically, the practical message is clear. When you've mastered the other principles, you enter a state of heightened awareness where answers come to you. Opportunities you would have missed become obvious. The right people appear. The next step reveals itself. Section 13, The Ghost of Fear. Before we close, Hill dedicates an entire section to what he calls the 6 ghosts of fear, the primary enemies of achievement. 1. Fear of poverty, the most destructive of all fears. 2. Fear of criticism, which kills ambition and destroys dreams. 3. Fear of ill health, which draws sickness through negative expectation. 4. Fear of loss of love, which creates jealousy and distrust. 5. Fear of old age, on which breeds self-limitation. 6. Fear of death, the ultimate paralysis. Hill's message is uncompromising. Fear is a state of mind, and states of mind are subject to control. You are not at the mercy of your fears. You built them, often without knowing it. And you can dismantle them with the same tools you've just learned. So let's bring it all together. Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich is not really a book about money. It's a book about becoming the kind of person for whom wealth and every other form of success is a natural result. The 13 principles aren't a checklist. They're a transformation system, a way of rewiring the mind so that success becomes not a lucky accident, but an inevitable outcome. Desire, faith, autosuggestion, specialized knowledge, imagination, organized planning, decision, persistence, the mastermind, sex transmutation, the subconscious, the brain, the sixth sense. These aren't just ideas. They are the operating system of every great achiever who has ever lived. The only question is, will you install them? If this summary gave you value, smash that like button and subscribe. We break down the world's most powerful books every week so you can gain decades of wisdom in minutes. And if you want to go deeper, pick up a copy of Think and Grow Rich. The link is in the description. Until next time, keep thinking bigger.